Welcome. In this tutorial, I'll be covering how to create a Mailchimp newsletter sign up using Elementor. So basically, we will be creating this portion of the website right here. And to begin that, we want to be in the back end. We want to make sure that Elementor is set up properly. So you want to go into settings, Elementor settings, integration, and then you want to make sure that you've got an API key that is filled in and then validated. If you don't know how to find your API key, there is a video explaining how to do that. Just look where you found our other videos, and you will find a video that will explain how to do that. So once you're sure that there's a key in there, then you can come back to your back end, to the page that you want to put it on. I actually create the area that's the newsletter in two segments. One's the header and one's the actual plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a header under. So just drag it over. We're going to name it newsletter. And then I'm going to actually steal the styling from the one that I did before by right-clicking on the blue pencil. Normally if you left-click on the blue pencil, the editing fields come into place. If you right-click on the blue pencil, then you get this secondary menu. Click copy, and then come down to the one that we just created, paste styles, and bam, it now looks like the one that we did up here. The only difference is the font size, and I'll show you how to fix that later. Okay, so to get this portion of it, the form itself, what we're going to do is we're going to go click on the little boxes up here in the right corner, and then I'm going to type in start typing in mail, and what we want is the one that's called form. I'm going to drag that over. By default, it gives you name, email, and message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on name, and I'm going to change the fields, what they're called. The first one I'm changing to first name. Copy that, paste that into the placeholder field, so they both say the same thing. And once I have that done, I'm going to click the two little page on page, which is duplicate. I'm going to duplicate that first field that we created. Then I'm going to click into it, and then I'm going to change first to last. Copy that, paste that in the placeholder. Now we've got a field called first name, last name. Then we have email, which is what we want, and then we want to get rid of message. So we clicked on the little X on the side, that got rid of it, and we're going to add a new field. We're going to click on add item, come here to the drop down for type, and then we're going to search for acceptance. It's Basically what it does is it creates a little box that you have to check to make sure that the information's there. And then we called it authorization. Make that required, and then the text. All right. So I typed in, I authorize the site to add my email address to the site's newsletter or news list, or newsletter list, I should say. Then we're going to click on it to close it. So now we've got first name, last name, email, the authorization, and then what's underneath is the send button. I don't like the send button label, so I'm going to change that. So that's the submit button. Form was the first little arrow that we can click on. So the second one is submit. We're going to change that to sign up. And then instead of justified, I like doing centered. But you can do left align, right align, center. Justified makes it the full width. So now we've got the button, we've got our fields, and we've got our authorization. The next thing that we need to do is action after submit. Right now it's sending an email, and we want to click into the box, scroll down to the section Mailchimp, and that'll give us another section that pops up underneath. We now have email and we now have Mailchimp. Email goes to whoever the website is. You can change the subject of the email. I'm going to see. And this is basically what'll show up in your email as the announcement. You know, it's like the subject matter, new subscriber to Redberry Lake newsletter. Then the data that's going to be time, date, page URL, user agent, remote IP, credentials, or credit, I should say. It's going to take all the fields that we've added to the email or to the form basically, and it's going to deposit it in there. And all this is, you don't have to have the email. It basically is a good practice so that you can, whenever somebody signs up, it'll just be another reminder to whoever is your admin or your admin group, to know that someone new has signed up for your service. The next thing we want to set up is the Mailchimp. The API key is going to be the default. The audience, we click on the arrow. There's only one audience that we've set up that's associated. The reason I really like using this plugin is because it allows me to use my groups really easily. the groups that we created in an earlier tutorial, we now use those to select where this particular, adding this particular email address is going to go to this group. This makes it easier so that when later on when we're sending out a newsletter, or in the case of the email alert, it goes to the right group of people. Not everybody's going to sign up for the email alerts. Not everybody's going to sign up for the newsletter. So when one of these things, or I should say, when your user decides what they're going to sign up for, it's really obvious. We want the double opt-in, and then the field mapping, we want to make sure that we grab the right fields that we want. So email to email, first name, last name to last name. We don't have a phone number, we don't have a birthday, we don't have an address. Additional options you want to click on, and then custom messages. You can have messages come up on the screen once the form has been filled out. Form was successfully sent. If there's a problem with an error within the message, it'll show an error message. Things that are required, which I need to go back and make sure that all my required fields are required. If something's not filled out, then it'll show an error message for that. So going back into the forms, we're going to go to the first one and make sure that the required section is turned on, and we're going to do that for the second one. Email is already there, and authorization is already there. So we're going to update this. And I'm actually going to refresh the page. Okay.